Welcome to the Not Superheroes Just Dads podcast. No, we can't fly. No, we can't shoot lasers or pick up giant buildings. But what we can do is help set the foundations for our families, be present for our kids, and combat generational cycles. On this podcast, we dive into everything dad related, from the struggles we deal with as fathers to what our favorite thing to barbecue is. Hello, I'm Sean Laurie. Hope you guys are doing amazing today. With that being said, I just wanted to also just tell you guys, the feedback has been absolutely amazing. I know I took a week off for the holidays, just to clear my mind, just to kind of reset some things, and obviously spend time with family, right? I talk about it all the time, right? Just being present, right? And I got to make sure I'm doing the same. But before we jump into it, right, make sure you like, subscribe, share, tell a friend. You guys know I appreciate the support so much. Now, with that being said, there's something that I really want to dive into today, and something that I think all of us, not just fathers, but as people can relate to. And that's just how, the crazy feeling like time is just speeding up, right? And just like in a blink of an eye, it seems like it's just gone, right? You're like, wait, where did the time go? At least I can speak for me, where there's times where I'm like, I might not have seen someone's child for like a year or two, and it seems like in that time, like their child has grown so much, right? Either like just personality-wise, maybe the way they're dressing, maybe height, right, strength, whatever the case is, and it blows my mind. Like, wait, what the heck? Like, it was only a year or 2 years ago or whatever it was. But that's what I want to dive into today, and just really diving into why that is. And so, I guess to just dive right into it, right, is why, at least from my opinion, why time feels like it goes by so much quicker, right? Because I know, at least for me, man, it's like I said, everything is a blur at times. But I think it's routine, right? I think the reason why at times it feels like, man, like we were just in January, now is December or it's November, right? It's because we get in the same routine, right? When we're kids, right, everything is new. Right, we're going to a new school, we're meeting new friends, we have new expectations, right? There's always something going on, right? Or you're looking forward to something, especially as a kid, right? And as kids, as you guys know, kids are very impatient a lot of times, right? So, you're counting down the days to go to your friend's house or go to the museum or the zoo or whatever the case is, right? And, honestly, as kids, right, we don't appreciate time, right? We don't even think about it. We kind of take it for granted, right? But as adults, right, we fall into doing the same routine every day. We're not necessarily meeting new people every day, right? We're not going to school no more, right? New friends, even if you have coworkers, okay? After that, it's the same coworkers you keep seeing every day, right? We're not necessarily having those same new experiences as often as our kids are, right? Because we have work, we have responsibilities, we have our own kids we have to worry about, right? So that alone is going to make it where it's the same routine, right? Watching the same show, eating the same meal, because you know what? I'm not a breakfast person, so, I'm just going to eat a quick granola bar, or, hey, I'm always on the go, so I just always pick up the same meal, right? So it's just the same repetitive thing over and over again. Excuse me. And then, like I said, we just have, more responsibilities, right? And at times, right, it can make us less present, and not even necessarily with our kids, but just overall in life, right? Kids are always fully present, right? They're always fully present with whatever's going on. Because at that moment, whatever it is, it could be a video game, right? Like, I know for me, if I play a video game right now, right, I'm like, dang, I just wasted all this time, right? But for the kids, it's like, hey, in this moment, this is all I'm focused on. And, I can tell you every single moment of what happened at this game, especially at least for my son, who's a big Fortnite person, right? I guess it was some Fortnite event or something. He was like counting down the days and all excited for that, right? But as adults, right, we can't necessarily I put it like this, as adults, it's harder for us to be present as far as in this moment with certain things, because we're always thinking. I know for us as fathers, right, especially for us as fathers, we're always thinking, okay, this bill is due. Okay, I got this errand to run. Okay, I gotta get the car fixed. Okay, you know what? The dishwasher broke. Okay, I gotta do the lawn, right? Whatever it is. Oh man, my kid has assembly tomorrow, getting this award, or I gotta take him to their volleyball game, or whatever the case is, right? So it's like we're constantly trying to think about what's next, right? So it makes it difficult for us because, especially as men, we're trying to fix things, we're trying to solve problems, right? We're trying to make sure we're taking care of everything so our wives, our ladies, our kids don't have to stress over it, don't have to worry about it, right? And so we spend so much time mentally in the future that we aren't expecting. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. We spend so much time mentally in the future we aren't experiencing the present, right? And when you're not present like that, that's when time flies, right? It's like, oh dang, like it was just Monday. Now it's Friday, right? And it's because, again, like I said earlier, we're doing the same routine. So it's like, dang, this week went by fast. And it's because you're constantly doing something, right? And I can speak for myself when, there is a bunch of stuff at times. For me, it can be overwhelming as well, right? I'm like, I got to hurry up and knock out all this stuff on Wednesday. Wednesday's a big day because I got this, going on. And so I got to knock this out. And I'm so busy trying to like get my checklist off in a sense, right? I for sure can't be present in that moment, right? Like I should be, you know what I mean? And not just that, right? This is a crazy thing. And y'all know I'm big on this. So whatever I say, you can Google, you can research it. But I forgot what it's called. It's a something theory. I can't think of it right now. But basically, it's for example, my son's 10, right? So he's 10 years old. So that is like 10% of his entire life, right? Or, someone that's 40, right? I'm not 40 yet, but getting closer, right? But for someone that's 40, that is only 2.5% of their life, right? So it literally feels shorter because honestly, it's a smaller piece of your life. You know what I mean? It's a smaller piece of what's going on. So, of course, that's why as kids, right? I know you remember this, but as kids, it was one of those things where it was like, man, it's taking so long for me to turn 21, or it's taking so long for me to get to high school. It just seemed like in that time, and like I said, when we were younger, we just took that for granted. And also, right, I feel like as well when it comes to social media, right, digital distractions, right? For example, when something goes on, right, with our kids, again, nothing wrong with recording what's happening with our kids, right? And if you can have someone that's recording or whatever, that makes it better. But so many times we're so busy looking through the lenses of our phone that we're not actually be able to really take in what's happening in that moment, right? Our kid is I don't know, getting an award, or we're whatever the case is, we're at an event, right? We're at some type of event. Like, unfortunately, we're not in the present. Like, even I'll even say it like this: we've seen it, unfortunately, where something terrible happens, right? Whatever, some type of disaster or some type of altercation, whatever the case is, and instead of trying to help the person, check on them, right? We're pulling out our phones. We're trying to be the first one to go viral. We're trying to be the first one to, get those likes, get those clicks, right? Instead of in that moment being present. Shoot, you know what? Something happened, right? To this person, to this kid, to whatever the case is. Let me go check on them, or let me help with this situation, right? And again, I'm guilty of that, right? The phone, scrolling, right? It's one of those things where you can get caught scrolling for hours, right? And then that also, though, can make your life feel like it's a blur, right? And when we're present physically, but our mind is somewhere else, right? Like, yeah, I'm right here. My kid is trying to show me something. I'm right here, but yet I'm constantly on my phone. Or shoot, let's be honest. Most people now, we don't even eat with our family, right? Or we'll eat with our family, but no one's having conversations. Everybody's on the phone. I've seen it plenty of times at restaurants, right? The father, the mother, the kids are all on the phone, not saying one word until the food comes, right? And so in those moments, though, right, it's going to be a blur because, again, when we're distracting our phones, time flies by, right? Time flies by. I know, again, I stopped playing video games like a while ago, but I remember I was like in my 20s, like late 20s. I used to play heavy on games, and then it got to a point where I'm like, time's flying and I really haven't did anything. Like nothing was productive. Matter of fact, I don't even know what time it is or whatever. And it's funny because I see that with my kids now, right? They'll play the game or the tablet, and shoot, if you don't make them stop, right? They won't eat, they won't use the restroom, right? They're just so locked into whatever's going on, right? And so that's why for me, I'm very big on, hey, let's be present in that moment. Put the game down and put the tablet down, right? And let's do this together. Let's pray together. Let's read together. Let's watch a movie together, right? Just these different things where it's like, hey, you can't rely on your tablets or your video games or your phone, right? And the kids do a good job of pointing it out for me as well, right? And my wife does a good job of telling us, hey, everyone put the phones down, right? And making sure that we're being present when we need to be present. And excuse me. And then I wanted to really emphasize, because obviously this goes for anybody, right? It doesn't even necessarily have to pertain to fathers, but for us as fathers, right? I do feel like it does hit a little bit harder, because again, we're trying to provide, we're trying to protect, we're trying to lead, we're trying to grow our careers, right? Or we're trying to build our dreams, right? And take care of our families, right? On top of those. So I'm just looking at it like that. Like for us as fathers, at times it's hard for us to be present in that moment because we're thinking about, okay, this needs to be taken care of. Okay, let me make sure that, my oldest, right? She's older now. She's, next year she'll be 21, right? And so, which is crazy. She's going to be 21. But, right, she wants to go out, and I understand that she wants to experience life, right? But as a father, I worry about that, right? I want to protect her, right? But then it's one of those things, okay, I have to also give her a little leeway and let her understand certain things. But it's still in the back of my mind, that's still what I'm thinking about. That's still like something that just keeps replaying certain situations, scenarios. Okay, if this happens, I need to make sure I do this. I need to make sure I can help her here, right? All these different things. And like I said, then you're trying to grow your career. You're trying to build your dream job or your whatever hobby you're into, right? Just all these different things on top of take care of your family. And then in the middle of all that, right, our kids are growing up in real time, right? And so that's why we blink and our sons or our daughters, all of a sudden, right, it's like, dang, they hit another milestone, right? And if we're not intentional, we can miss that, right? We're so busy focusing on, trying to provide, trying to protect, lead, grow our business or growing our careers, follow our dreams, take care of the family, which again, those are all great things, right? But in that, your kids are literally growing up. So we have to also be conscious of that, because if not, we can miss it. So time doesn't ask for permission. It just goes, right? Time, like, that's one of the most valuable things. Like, we can never get your time back ever. Doesn't matter how much money you have, right? Doesn't matter your status. Doesn't matter any of those things at all, because at the end of the day, time doesn't stop for nobody. So, but, right, what we can do to kind of help somewhat when it comes to slowing time, right, and to be able to really capture those certain milestones, right, is just, I would call it, create memory markers, right? New experiences. Slow down, right? Slow down of certain. Sometimes we're so busy going, go. Me being from Cali, I'm used to just being on the go. Now, here in Texas is a little bit slower, but growing up in Cali, that's all it was. Go, right? It's everything's just constant grind, constant hustle, constant grind, constant hustle, excuse me. But just do something new, right? It could be something, do something new once a month, right? It could be like, man, I'm gonna start this new book, right? I'm gonna, shoot, if you're in good enough shape, I'm gonna, I don't know, join a man's basketball league, right? Shoot, a kickball. I think they even have that in some places, right? Start walking. Hey, I'm gonna start walking. Every Wednesday, I'm gonna start walking and walk around the neighborhood and check it out, right? Or go somewhere different with your kids, somewhere you've never been before. Oh man, I've never been to this museum. Let me take the kids, right? Just start something small. Your brain is going to record though, right? Your brain is going to record more details, and life stops feeling so rushed because you're not in this place of you're just turning the wheels and you're just doing the same thing over and over again. And your kids are going to remember that. Hey, Dad, remember when we went here, when we went there, right? That's why, if you think about it, right, as well, growing up, you don't remember every single toy your parents got you, but you do remember certain details. You do remember when you went to the beach for the first time, or, your parent came to a certain award assembly you had, right? Or went to a certain game or whatever, right? There's certain little milestones that stick in their head, right? And when you're doing something different, it's going to highlight even more for them. Like for me, I remember when I think I was 12. I went to Big Bear. That's a mountain in California. But that's still because I never did it like that. I went there for my birthday. We went there. We stayed in the cabin, and I fished, right? And I remember I caught 2 fish, right? I don't remember that much else when I was 12. I remember little things here and there, but that for sure, is a highlight in my brain, right? And that's something because I never did before. So imagine if we do those same things as adults, you know what I mean? And so, and so it's just one of those things that I feel like just us being present on purpose, right, will help slow that time down. When we put the phone down, and it's hard at times because we feel like we're missing something. We feel like we didn't see, whatever the trend thing is, or whatever on social media, whatever celebrity has going on, right? But just put the phone down, right? And even if it's just like for 10 minutes, right? Just being present, just sitting there and looking at your family, looking at man, this is something that God blessed me with, right? And just really taking that in, just as stretches at a time. Shoot, it don't even have to be 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, right? But if you think about it, because presence as fathers, presence is a superpower for us, right? That's why it's so key when you think about it, the impact that a father has on the children, right? And so, just taking that in, really taking that in and just observing everything that's going on. Just for a little bit. I'm not saying you have to constantly oh man, I got to go on a fast from the phone or social media for, a week. If you can, that's great. That's amazing, right? But if it's one of those things, hey, the way my job is, I cannot be on, social media, or I cannot do whatever, right? Okay, cool. Then just set a time or a schedule. Hey, from this time to this time, I'm not going to be scrolling on my phone. I'm not going to just be constantly consumed with whatever's on my phone, right, in that moment. But, I just feel like that would help. Also, just for us, I'm guilty of this, but not trying to pack everything in 1 hour, right? And understanding rest isn't lazy, right? It's necessary. So you just sitting there resting at times, just chilling, seeing the kids, seeing the family, whatever, doing their thing. You just sitting there. That's okay, because at the end of the day, I look at it like you're also taking it in. You're also, not only are you resting, you're not, so busy trying to do this, do that, right? But it lets your brain for a little bit just kind of chill out and relax, because shoot, I know many of us as fathers, we're thinking about 15 different things at once, right? And it could be a lot, right? But if you need a rest, it's okay to rest. And the funny thing is, if you don't rest, your body will force you to anyways a lot of times. But that's a whole another conversation. But, just create that space, right, for your mind to slow down, And so I know for me, this is, I guess, a plug in a sense, but I created a journal a while back, a reflective journal. And that was also so us as fathers, it's for parents in general, but for us as fathers to be able to really reflect daily on what's going on, right? Journaling, praying, right? Talking with our kids daily, right? And then when you reflect, your brain is going to process the time instead of skipping over it, right? So when you reflect, your brain is going to process all of that instead of it just being a blur, And so I think that definitely would be intentional. And then also, just moving your body at times too, right? Exercise can reset your mind, right? Exercise, there's studies, exercise helps with depression, right? Anxiety, right? And as men, right, we can get in our own head at times, right? So being able to really exercise and do certain activities can help with that, right? Where we're not getting so overwhelmed, not getting so worked up, and then we're keeping it all in. At least it gives us an outlet to get that out, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, for anyone that's listening, right? maybe, it's one of those things, as I said, as fathers, it can be difficult for us, but I want to challenge you guys, whoever's listening, whoever is watching, I want to challenge you to do one thing, right? Just break that routine, right? Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be nothing big. Just break a routine, right? Break a routine. It could be like, hey, normally, I always do this. I'll use the example. Normally, I eat oatmeal in the morning, right? Actually, I'm gonna get up a little bit earlier and make myself eggs and pancakes, right? Something like that, right? Just something new, right? Or try a new food, right? Do a family game night or something. Take your kids somewhere new, like I mentioned earlier, right? Just something that is going to be different than what you normally do. And I promise you, do that, it's going to create another memory, and it's going to also help you be more present. Not saying you're not present as a father, I'm saying present as in time, right? Just being present so it's not blurring. Now, again, it's still going to be a blur because at the end of the day, time's constantly going. At least for me, right? Looking at my kids is like a constant reminder that time is going, right? When I'm looking at my kids, I'm like, dang, like they're literally like a clock for me, and I think that also makes it feel like time is speeding up because in they're getting older, but so are we. And then even though they're getting older, it's almost like, no, it's not even almost, they're so young, right? So it's like, okay, they were 10 years old, now, they're 20 years old, right? And they're still young, and you're looking like, dang, where did it go, right? Because you're also growing as well. And then for them, it's like, man, that it wasn't fast enough, right? And then for you, it's like, no, I wish it slowed down, So, yeah, man. So I just, as I get ready to wrap this up, man, I just want to tell you guys, or share with you guys, I should say, right? It's just time is speeding up in a sense, but it also isn't, right? Because it is for us because we're older, so we have all these different things and all these, our minds are racing. But at the same time, as if we can do certain things, it's going to make us really value those days, those weeks, those months, those years a little bit more, right? And so we're just moving so fast sometimes, right? We're just moving so fast without even noticing it, but we can change that, right? We can change that if we just slow down, right? If we just slow down, like that's the thing, just slow down our minds, and then everything else will take care of itself. But again, y'all, I appreciate you guys, for just really rocking with me, man. And like always, you don't have to be perfect, but you always have to be present. See you guys on the next one.